Check, check, check. 1, 2. There we go. So we got confirmation today that Final Cut Pro 10.5 is indeed real. It is indeed real, which is really, really exciting. Now, it's not released yet, but the new 13-inch MacBook Pro, the ARM-based MacBook Pro, oh, let me turn that off, of course, let me pull up a couple of things here. What don't I have? Comments. There they are. Final Cut Pro 10.5 is going to be released sometime shortly, hopefully, maybe next week. But we got confirmation that it exists today, thanks to one of our people on the chat, on the YouTube chat. That's cool. Let me pull up a couple of these. So, Final Cut Pro 10.5 is real. That's the biggest news of today. The actual Apple event itself is not, it was fine. It's what we expected, right? They released three Macs, a MacBook Air with this 8-core, the Mac Mini, which was a no-brainer, right? The Mac Mini was a no-brainer. They had that running back at WWDC. And they have the 13-inch MacBook Pro. So let's go through some of these comments. Lots and lots of comments. Let me just turn these down a little bit. MacBook Pro, lots of comments today. Lots of comments. Let's go through some of the comments real quick. So I got asked, am I satisfied with the Apple event today? Yeah, for what it was an Apple event. I think it was fine, very well produced. Rob Fisher says, hey, Richard, greetings from Germany. Are you satisfied with the event? I was surprised of the length. It was kind of short. Yeah, I thought it would be a little longer, but listen, this is the third event that they've had this year, that Apple has had this year. I don't care. The rest of the stuff is great, okay? The Mac Mini is great. The MacBook Air is great. The 13-inch MacBook Pro is great. But the biggest news, Final Cut Pro 10.5 exists. That's the biggest news, okay? We have confirmation of that finally. Finally. I'm going to pull that up. Actually, I'm going to save a copy first, but I think it'll be fine. Oh, man. Finally, we got confirmation. Finally, we got confirmation. Let me pull over to here real quick, and I'm going to go here. Let me go back to here. What's going on here? I don't know why that's coming up. Safari, here we go. So here we are on the MacBook Pro page. The 13-inch MacBook Pro, the new one, the ARM-based processor. Scroll all the way to the bottom. Look what it says. Tested with pre-release version 10.5, Final Cut Pro 10.5. Right there. Tested with pre-release Final Cut Pro 10.5. We finally got confirmation that 10.5 is indeed coming. That is fantastic news. Right? It is to me. I mean, I've been waiting for 10.5 for a while. Did I, let me just check something. Yeah, I'm still there. Good. Just wanted to make sure you guys could hear me when I was saying. So DaVinci Resolve 17 yesterday. So DaVinci Resolve 17 and 10.5 today. So many months they are announced right after each other. Sedgwick says, so 10.4, 10 to 10.5 doesn't sound like a big increase to be excited about. The 0.5 is just so it can run on the M1 processor. No, that's not correct. They've been working on 10.5. 10.4 is almost 3 years old. 10.5 is not a point update. It's a brand new version of Final Cut Pro, just like 10.2 was and 10.3 was and 10.4 was. 10.5 is a brand new version. It's not a point update. It's a point update. So yeah, they showed the DaVinci Resolve today. The Final Cut Pro Summit is going to be amazing, and my first one too. Boy, I'm happy to be here for it too. Absolutely. So yes, the summit next week. So I'm not going to do that today, but I got 2 tickets to give away to the Global Summit. I'm going to do that later in the week. Maybe tomorrow we'll do it. We have an event Thursday, and I'm going to be broadcasting some pre-show stuff on the Global Summit over the weekend, starting on Saturday or Sunday. So I'll give a ticket out to that to anybody that wants to, that hasn't bought it already. Eric Emmerich says, what's the confirmation? The confirmation is on Apple's website. The confirmation is number 4. It says tested with pre-release Final Cut Pro 10.5. Final Cut Pro 10.5 is real. That's the confirmation. It's on Apple's website. That's fantastic. I'm very, very excited. So that's great. That's great. That's what I'm most excited about, is the 10.5 confirmation. So it looks like Blackmagic works with Apple just fine. Does this mean we will see B-RAW in Final Cut Pro 10.5? Don't know. DaVinci Resolve was getting love during the presentation. Apple needs to make up with the 10.5 presentation for Final Cut Pro. Cedric, that's coming, I'm sure, next week at the FCPX Global Summit. So the Global Summit next week, it's less than a week away. That's going to be the big event. Apple's going to be presenting on Thursday. I'm sure we will see a pre-release or a preview of 10.5 at this point. Very, very confident. Maybe it'll be released next week. It was pre-released in October, so maybe it'll be released next week. Yeah, absolutely. That's the big one. The Global Summit next week. That's the big one. Hooray to the Final Cut Pro team. Absolutely. Those guys and gals are doing a great job. Everybody here is looking forward to seeing what's going on next week. Garrett says this Thursday is 10. Mac OS Big Sur release. 10.5 can be released at any time. It could be released today. It could be released Thursday along with Big Sur. But it's real. 10.5 is real, so the release is imminent, I would say. Yes. Yes, Thursday, 10.5, Big Sur is going to be released. By next Thursday, if Final Cut Pro 10.5 has not been released, it will be released, I'm confident, during that week, probably Thursday. But 10.5 could be released at any time. The fact is, the confirmation is, we finally got confirmation that it exists. That's the main thing that I'm excited about. Finally, after all this time, it's not going to be 10.4.11. It's not going to be Final Cut Pro 11. It's Final Cut Pro 10.5. Spot Lewis, hooray from Philly for the Final Cut Pro team. Absolutely. Let's give some of them applause. Final Cut Pro team, fantastic. I'm so glad we finally got confirmation that it is 10.5. 10.5 is dramatically different than 10.4. They've been working on it forever. 10.4 is 36 months old, almost 3 years old. 10.5 is the next iteration of that. And I'm sure it's going to be fantastic. Of course, it's going to be universal binary, absolutely. Cheers to the Final Cut Pro team. Sorry. It doesn't say Final Cut Pro X 10.5. It says Final Cut Pro 10.5. The audio is back again. Thanks for telling me. I wasn't. I was on mute. Sorry. It doesn't say Final Cut Pro X, Roman numeral X 10.5. It says Final Cut Pro 10.5. I wonder if they have dropped the X. Don't know for a fact. But that possibility exists, doesn't it? Wow. That's the exciting news to me. Of course, being Final Cut Pro Radio, we're finally getting confirmation of Final Cut Pro 10.5. I have an unmute button. It just, I have to press. This is my mute and unmute button right there. So thanks for telling me. I'll keep track of you guys. Sedgwick says, so excited about 10.5, the audio went out. Exactly. So excited about 10.5, the audio went out. I started talking about 10.5 and Apple went, cut his audio out. No, that was my mistake. That was my mistake. Thank you, Final Cut Pro team. So listen, 10.5 could come out at any point. This is not specifically, it's not specifically going to come out during a global summit, but of course, that's what they're going to be showing us at the global summit. Apple Day is Thursday. FCPX CreativeSummit.com is where you can go. Tickets are $199, and you can, wait a minute, let me just duplicate this. Oh, I just didn't mean to do that. That wasn't what I wanted to do. Oh, whatever. Let me duplicate it here on screen. This will be handy. If you haven't bought your ticket yet, use coupon code FCPX50. You get 50% off. So you get to go to the Creative Summit for $100. That's worth it. Price of admission right there. I am going to be giving away some tickets to the show. Heck, well, I'll give one away now. Whatever. Let me give one away now. So if you don't have a ticket already, no, that's not Mark Spencer. That code goes for everybody. I saw Serena Catania had it this morning. I saw a bunch of other people have it this morning. I saw 3 different people have the FCPX 50 code, 50% off. So unlikely it'll come out before the Big Sur Gold Master on Thursday. I think they might release them both at the same time. Spot Lewis says, I don't. You don't what? No, I don't have a ticket yet. James Wells. Okay. Eric Emmerich, the new Resolve does look good. I want to use Final Cut Pro and not Resolve. Also, listen, they had that controller for Resolve yesterday. It's $299 or $295. They're giving it away free if you buy a studio copy of Resolve. That's got me tempted. I might go ahead and buy that because that keyboard thing looked pretty interesting. I use a jog shuttle wheel now. As a matter of fact, that's one of the reasons I'm not updating to Big Sur's, because I use a Shuttle Pro and it doesn't have Big Sur drivers yet. They said they're working on them. Spot Lewis have a ticket. So here's the thing about me giving away these 2 tickets. I'd like to give it to somebody who can't afford it, okay? Rather than if you can afford it, you just go. Just go. I just gave you a coupon code for 50% off. So that's $100. If you can't afford $100, that's, I think, the person I'd like to give the ticket to. I have one today, and I'll give away one later in the week. So if you can't afford the ticket, $100, right? Here's the coupon code, 50% off with coupon code FCPX50. Yeah, I never bought the Studio Resolve, the studio version. Now, here's the thing. I was going to get a free version with the camera, but I never bought the camera. So Rob Fisher says, do you think Apple will present the new Intel Macs with saying indirectly that it's faster. Am I? Well, it doesn't make any sense for them to, if it's not faster. I mean, why would they release it? I expect the new version to be faster at every time it's introduced. Now, one of the things that they did say today was the 2-year countdown starts now. I've had discussions on Twitter with people. They're saying it started back at WWDC. No, they said today we're starting a 2-year countdown with the release of the first version of these Macs. So now's when it starts down, the countdown starts down. Not back in WWDC time. At least that's my interpretation. I mean, the thing is, they certainly could have it out quicker. So now we're getting everybody like to have a free ticket. If you can't afford it, that's what I'd like to know for the most part. Everybody can't afford $100. That's amazing. Eric Emmerich says about $200 ticket, of course, early buyer penalty. Well, I had a 10% off coupon back in the early days, FCPRadio 10. So actually, at least could have saved you $10. Resolve update was great. Hope the Final Cut Pro update is even better. So do I. The Resolve 17 looks amazing. The Blackmagic team is absolutely on their game. Now, the thing about it is they're really good at previewing things, but whether or not they actually come out with what they previewed remains to be seen, right? Once again, if you haven't seen the information, the confirmation, we are here. It says tested with pre-release Final Cut Pro 10.5. It talks about it right there. So on Apple's page, the MacBook Pro 13-inch page, they have indeed confirmed that Final Cut Pro 10.5 does exist. Oh, that's interesting. That can't be correct. New MacBook Pro is also tested with pre-release of Logic 10.6. Logic 10.5 only came out 6 months ago. You mean they're jumping to 10.6 already? Wow. Okay. Well, let's see if I can find that. I'll be darned. There it is. Okay, thanks for that note. Pre-release Logic 10.6. Wow, that's a lot of information. Let me do a little bit of housekeeping here for a second. All right, let me just post this. On social media. Let me tell everybody to tune in live. That's interesting. It's very interesting that Logic Pro is jumping to 10.6 when 10.5's only been out for 6 months. Let me just pull this up real quick. Not pull it up. Let me put this URL in here. tweet it. There we go. Got that out. Fantastic. You guys are absolutely the best. First off, you let me know that there was a version of 10.5 on the release, and then Tears just said tested with pre-release of Logic 10.6. No, I said my coupon code was I'd get you you buy me coffee. So who's going to buy one of the new MacBook Pros or MacBook Airs? The Mac Mini makes perfect sense because they had that running at WWDC, right? They had that running at WWDC. That makes completely perfect sense. Logic must have had enhancements to take advantage of M1. Yes, but I expect the ARM version and the Intel version to have feature parity, Final Cut Pro and Logic for years, next couple years going on. There might be a couple of little things that the M1 chip does. Rob Fisher says, does USB 4 mean it's still Thunderbolt 3? No, I think it's Thunderbolt 4. I think USB 4 and Thunderbolt 4 are kind of neck and neck. I think they're about the same performance-wise. So I'm going to presume that they're... Let me just put this up here. Let me just do this. The interesting thing is... Pro 10.6. Wow. Logic Pro 10.6, Final Cut Pro 10.5. They're not out yet, okay? Don't be excited. They're not out yet. But we have confirmation on the Apple 13-inch MacBook Pro. So Michael Wright says 13-inch MacBook Pro for me. That's fantastic. Looks like a pretty good deal. They said the M1 MacBook Air can handle 4K video at least with no problems in the new Final Cut Pro. I missed that they said the new Final Cut Pro. I was expecting that, but I didn't see that specifically. Let me pull this over here. Pull this down, pull that down. There we go. There we go. Thunderbolt 4 performance is the same as Thunderbolt 3. However, from what I understand, you can now have a Thunderbolt 4 dock that has multiple Thunderbolt 4 ports. You can expansion dock. I think that's one of the biggest things. The performance is probably about the same, but I think USB 4 and Thunderbolt 4 are about the same. Tangier says, hello, Tangier. I noticed how they showed Resolve 2. Just finished talking to other editors who are leaving Premiere Pro and Avid for Resolve. No Final Cut Pro 10, unfortunately. If I was leaving Final Cut Pro 10, which I'm not, I would definitely go to Resolve. Hands down, I'd go to Resolve. I'm not going to pay the Adobe tax every month for the rest of your life. I think they said 4 streams of 4K on the 13-inch MacBook Pro. They very well may have. They very well may have. So, that's interesting. Rob Fisher says the Apple Store says Thunderbolt 3 under technical specifications. I don't know what that means, but I know Thunderbolt needs an Intel chipset. Thunderbolt 4 needs an Intel chipset. So the new Macs must have an Intel chipset in there to run Thunderbolt 3 or Thunderbolt 4. 3 and 4, I'm going to wait till they do Thunderbolt 4 before I buy a new Mac. And hey, they'll probably have a Thunderbolt 4 PCIe card for my Mac Pro. Why not? That makes complete sense. Thanks for that, Rob. And also, yes, about the dock cables we made for Thunderbolt 4 also make both better. So USB 4, Thunderbolt 4 is coming. I'm not going to buy a machine that doesn't support both of those natively. But the big news, look, Final Cut Pro 10.5, Logic Pro 10.6. These are going to be big updates. These aren't going to be incremental. They're not going to be... 10.4.9 was really nice. The Final Cut Pro team did that. That's fantastic. Let's see if we can call the, well, I'm not going to say, let's see if we can call. Let's see if, well, maybe we'll get a call from Apple and we can congratulate. Hello. Yes, listen, we're all excited. Thank you for calling. Final Cut Pro 10.5, Logic Pro 10.6. I mean, that's got to be the shortest update cycle of anything. Logic Pro 10.5 came out in May, and now Logic Pro 10.6. The pre-release version it's not been announced, but it's been mentioned on the Apple website. Phenomenal work. Pro Apps team, phenomenal work. You tell the Pro Apps team, that's great. Hopefully at the Creative Summit, they're also going to be showing us something about Logic Pro 10.6. That would be phenomenal. So we're going to, we want to congratulate you. Listen, we got all these listeners today, 30, 40 listeners watching live. We'll have thousands of listeners when the time we get done. From all of us, please tell the Final Cut Pro team, the Pro Apps team, the Logic Pro team, thank you, thank you, thank you. Apple too, you can mention it to Tim Cook. That would be phenomenal. All right? Please let us know anything else that's happening in the world of Final Cut Pro and Apple. We will appreciate it. All of us say thank you. Thank you very much. Well, we had that going for us, didn't we? I just wanted to thank the Final Cut Pro team, the Pro Apps team, Apple specifically. We finally got news about Logic Pro 10.6 and Final Cut Pro 10.5. Cook on the phone. Tim Cook, yes. Is that Tim Apple on the blower? Yes, it is. It's better to come out next week. None of this showing it now, ships in January. Well, we have had the situation at the Creative Summit in the past where they showed us 10.4 and we could talk about it publicly, but it didn't come out for 2 months later. We saw it in October, it came out in December. That could be the situation at the Global Summit next week. It could come out, or they just could preview it, and then we can talk about it publicly since Apple has already mentioned it on their own website. Apple should start a new tagline. It's the end of the world as we know it. I have a 2019 16-inch MacBook Pro, no new laptops for a few years for me. So I have a 15-inch 2019 MacBook Pro that I hardly ever use. So when they introduce the 16-inch MacBook Pro with Apple Silicon, I'll be tempted at that point to trade this one in and get the new version. But listen, just because these new chips are out, let's wait and see what they do in the real world. I am very curious about next week's presentation. Hope to see some of the faces of the Pro Apps team. You will, Gert, you absolutely will. You got your ticket, you absolutely will see them at Apple campus, at the new Spaceship campus, live. It's not going to be pre-recorded the way Tim Cook did today. It's going to be live. So that's going to be phenomenal. We're getting more watchers today. That's great. So if you have any questions that I can perhaps answer, I don't know if I can, but let's see what we got here. Let me just do social media. So of course, let me just do this real quick. Let me just do this, a couple of things real quick. Hold on 1 second, please. I am going to quit that, and I'm going to start up this, and I'm updating my website, and there's a reason I'm updating it, is because let's see if that updates properly. Yes, it does. Publish. Excellent. All right, so we're going to take a little visit over there. As you all know, I have, let me see here. Social media. FCPRadio.com, that's where the podcast lives. We're going to go there right now. So, FCPRadio.com, look where we are. They're live. That's where the podcast lives. So, one of the things that I'm doing now is I'm putting the latest live version of Final Cut Pro Radio TV Live on the FCPRadio.com main page. So you guys can see it. You don't have to remember where it is. Of course, you can go to YouTube and all that stuff, but FCP Radio is an easy place to go. I'm excited. Final Cut Pro Radio TV Live. That's where we are right now. Oops, this one. Here. Final Cut Pro Radio TV Live. Let's turn that off. And the YouTube channel is youtube.com Richard Taylor TV. That's where you want to go if you're doing things on YouTube these days, which I've been on there for a while. So that's very cool, everybody. Let's turn that off. Let's put some more comments on. Rob Fisher says, to whom would you recommend the new M1s and to whom Intel Macs? Mac Pro, Intel Macs. iMac Pro, Intel Macs. Even the iMac just came out. Is that if you need an iMac, and get an Intel Mac. If you want to be, a 13-inch MacBook Pro is good enough for you, go ahead and use that. Get that, the M1. But listen, I wouldn't necessarily run out and buy the first generation of these. I'd wait a little bit. Look at some tests, see how they compare, and go from there. I wouldn't buy an Intel Mac now, but that's just me. Well, if you need a Mac Pro, you have no choice. You're going to be waiting for 2 years before the new Mac Pro comes out. If you need a Mac Pro now, get the Intel. It's fantastic. My favorite part of the presentation, besides the new MacBook Pro, was the old IBM guy at the very end. That was fantastic. That was absolutely, I was really, really glad to see him come back finally. Yep, PC Guy was back. Absolutely. So from today on, the 16-inch MacBook Pro are kind of outdated? No, I don't think so. They didn't announce a 16-inch MacBook Pro with the M1 chip. And, you know, a MacBook Pro is a tough decision. I don't know if I'd get one right now. I'd wait and see what happens in 2021. What about you? I think I'll probably be getting a ARM-based MacBook Pro when they come out, but I want to see real-world tests, especially with Final Cut Pro, right? Especially with Final Cut Pro. We got a lot of new listeners up here. They're stopping in here. We got 41 people watching live. Let me go here real quick. And here is your confirmation on where I got the information from. Tested with the pre-release Final Cut Pro 10.5. There's the Final Cut Pro confirmation. And where was the... And here's the Logic Pro 10.6. Now listen, Logic Pro has only been out for 6 months, 10.5. 10.5 came out in the middle of May, right? 10.5 came out in the middle of May. So I'm really surprised that Logic 10.6 is actually making that big of a jump. Listen, 10.5, 10.4 to 10.5 is going to be major, Final Cut Pro. Apparently, Logic Pro 10.6 is a major jump from Logic Pro 10.5. Otherwise, why change to 10.6 if it's not major? It's not just about the ARM Silicon Mac. That's not the only thing that's going on there. There's going to be features for Intel versions as well for both of these. Logic Pro 10.5, 10.6, and Final Cut Pro 10.5. The Intel people that are using these versions are also going to have benefits from these. These are going to be big updates. It's taken Final Cut Pro 10.5. Let's go back here a second. Final Cut Pro 10.5, look, it's 2 years, 10 months, 27 days. It's almost 35 months old at this point. Okay, that's 10.4. I have a counter on there keeping track. But Final Cut Pro, so these are going to be major. This is not a little increment from 10.4.10 to 10.5. This is a big step. I'm sure it's going to be features that we've been requesting and some new stuff and whatever they got. Logic, I have no idea what they're doing with Logic. Have you ever seen a 10.5 or 10.4 update in 6 months? That's what Logic's doing. They got something big happening. I was on Twitter yesterday and I said, everybody's excited about the new version of Final Cut Pro. What about Logic Pro? There it is. There it is, 10.6. John Hodgman, yes, he's great. He absolutely is. Let me see something here. Just going to pull up real quick. Downloads. Let me pull this up real quick. Huh. Oh, there it is. Let me pull this up. Let me change this to QuickTime Player. And there he is. I don't want to put it on too long because I'll get a takedown notice. Somebody from Apple say, hey, you can't show that. John Hodgman, fantastic. If you need an iMac, iMacs just came out, right? They just came out a couple months ago. Everybody's raving about the Intel iMacs. Get an iMac now. You can sell it later. Same with my Mac Pro. My Mac Pro, I'm not even a year old yet. I got an extended warranty, Apple Care warranty, so I have warranty for 2 more years. It's fine. Thunderbolt 4, I'll get a PCIe card to put in my Mac Pro if I think it's beneficial. I have an iMac now, and we'll wait to see what the new iMacs look like with silicon chips. Absolutely. If you can wait, wait. You notice everything with new processors is capped at 16 gigabytes of memory. I wonder if the 16 gigabytes all you need for the M1 until the next generation. Absolutely. It's also 8 cores, right? Based on the specs they just announced, I'd say outdated. I don't think, not the 16-inch. If I needed a 16-inch MacBook Pro, I'd get the Intel version. That was my main way that I edited, I'd get the Intel version right now. I'm not worried about it. I don't worry about what's coming out in the future. There's always a new Mac coming out in the future. Always. Whenever you buy something, the new Mac's coming out in the future. This time, instead of a new Intel, it's a new ARM base. So if you need it, buy it. I was waiting for an updated MacBook Pro 16-inch to buy. What to do? It depends on when you need it. The 16-inch MacBook Pro, I would expect it to be out in 2021 with the new chips, but not the Mac Pro, not the iMac Pro. Those are probably going to be in 2022. They said today, 2 years, starting a 2-year countdown timer. That's what they said. If there's no new MacBook Pro 16-inch in March 2021, I will go for the Intel version first. It will be years before they switch completely. Absolutely, that's what they said. Torgrim says, winter in Norway, shooting 4 music videos. Hope to hook up with the community next week. I will wait for the 16-inch. Absolutely, Torgrim. We'll see you at the Final Cut Pro Global Summit. New 13-inch MacBook Pro with only 16 gigabytes memory max. That is only a small window of use for the life cycle of keeping it to me. Nice. All more excited for Apple Day at the Summit. Yes. Absolutely. Apple Day at the Summit next week, next Thursday. Let's pull that up real quick. Let me pull that up because that is the biggest deal to me. Let's pull that up. And we'll go over here. So, FCPX Global Summit. Live interaction, virtual conferences. Features full 7 days of cutting-edge sessions presented by top industry professionals who are well-versed. All the usual suspects. Apple Day. This is the big one. Apple Day, Thursday, November 19th. Stay tuned for more details soon. We don't have to stay tuned because we have this. Let me pull that up. Where the heck did that go? No, let me go back to here then. It's over here. Here we go. Here's what they say. I got to put up one more thing. Wait a second. Let me just do one thing. Let me just do one more thing. Here. Join us on November 19th to meet with the Apple Pro video team in real time with surprise guests all day long. Real time from the Apple campus, surprise guests all day long. That's what's happening over there at Apple Day. So that's going to be fantastic. Of course, they have the program. The program's not 100% done yet, but it's coming up. It's getting pretty full. Here we go. Yeah, all kinds of stuff there. Steve Martin, Serena Catania, David Cox, Mark Spencer, Bill Davis. Oh, it's pretty good. Lee Herbert, Nick Haraz, Ian Robinson, Steve Douglas. Haven't heard from him in a long time. Our friend from Australia, Ian Anderson. Look at this. It's all taken care of. Oh, there's a green one. Green one means they're not quite filled out yet. Chuck Braverman, our friend Chuck Braverman. Jeff Greenberg, everybody's going to be there. Serena Catania, James Branch, Frederick Von Johnson, Jonathan Sims, Mark Spencer, production tips. These are the panels that they're going to be having. It's going to be a great week. It's going to be a great week. But the big one is the Final Cut Pro team. That's the big one, right? That's the big one. Okay, look. Logic Pro 10.6, Final Cut Pro 10.5. They're on their Apple website right now. They're not on the website, I'm sorry. There's mention of them. Pre-release versions coming up. That's the big news for today. The Apple event was very nice. The big news for today was these two guys, Final Cut Pro 10.5, Logic Pro 10.6. Have they dropped the X? Maybe. 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 All right. I think we've talked enough for today. What do you guys and gals think? I think we've talked enough for today. I'm going to get, let me see here what we got. All the more excited for Apple Day at the Summit, absolutely. No coincidence, Resolve announced the day before, you think? Probably, because it's running on, I think Resolve 17 is running on the Apple Silicon. I think it is. Staying with Final Cut Pro 10. My crackpot theory about Logic Update is that 10.6 has more artificial intelligence functions to take advantage of Apple Silicon. Right. But they have to keep this Apple Silicon and Apple Intel versions on parity at some level. The Apple Silicon can't overtake dramatically at this point, early stages. That wouldn't be fair to people who got the Intel. I think they'll stay performance. I expect the performance to be about the same initially with the M1. Maybe I'll wait for the M2. So what's left to change to Silicon? iMac Pro, MacBook Pro, and Mac Pro. That's right, the Pro machines. All of those are Pro machines that pros do work on. They're more complicated. The Mac Pro, 2 years from now, we'll see what happens. This thing is a beast. It's got 8 PCIe slots. 8 PCIe slots. Graphics cards out the wazoo. I got a 32 gigabyte one. That's going to be tough to beat with an Apple Silicon chip, but we'll see how they work that. 13-inch MacBook Pro looks like it has similar performance to MacBook Pro 16, but a slightly smaller battery life. Yes, the screen size. The 13-inch would not be enough screen size for me if I had to work on a portable machine. Absolutely. I have a baby on the way that could show up any day now. Fingers crossed he's not born on the 19th. There you go. I think Patrick Southern, our friend, just had a baby. Still funny how they call it AI and not software. That means the hardware and software have the ability to learn, remember, improve things for the next edit. 10.7 will start editing on its own. Congrats, Bruce. Congratulations, Bruce. I hope it'll be a smooth launch. I hope so as well. Any news on the Mac Pro in rose gold? That's what I really want. I think you're going to wait a while for that. Rose gold and pocket size. They found a way to get better performance in a smaller form factor that equal to bigger laptops, except you can't increase the memory amount yet. But the M2, we'll see how that works. Plus, memory is allocated differently with these chips. They want to incentivize Apple Silicon adoption. If the hardware proves faster and has near the battery life promised, then the MacBook Pro become a workhorse of creatives. Absolutely. I have a 34-inch screen. As a matter of fact, I'll pull that up for you. This is my screen. Look at this thing. 34 inches. This is what I have right now. This is all the information that I'm working with. I can't do a 13-inch. 16-inch is really cramped. So my choice is desktop, either a Mac Pro, an iMac Pro, or my Mac Pro. So if I had to edit, I would definitely wait for the 16-inch, 15 or 16-inch. I need at least that much. Torgrim says, thank you for keeping us all updated, Richard. I learn something new every time. That's fantastic. Everybody, go over there and subscribe to my YouTube channel. youtube.com/RichardTaylorTV. Go over there and subscribe. I'm nearing 1.2 something subscriptions. Let's get it up there. Michael writes us, wow, what model is that? That's an LG 34-inch display. But I'll be honest with you, Michael. The next one I'm going to get one of those 40-some-inch curved displays. Because I really like the big layout where I can put screens and screens and screens. Who will attend the summit next week? I'll be there for sure. We'll be in the chat rooms and the different things they're doing. And for people that can't make it, I'll be streaming live during the breaks. I'll come on here live. If we want to discuss things, we can come back here. Who else is going? Don't forget, you can get 50% off, 10%, 50%, all kinds of things. This is the big news today, okay? Final Cut Pro 10.5 and Logic Pro 10.6. They're not announced. I mean, they are announced, but they're not available yet. But they will. They have been officially, they're on apple.com officially. Rob Fisher says, I will be there too. Make sure everybody says hi. I'll be stopping in at different times. And we'll have a good time next week, starting on Monday. By the way, I'm going to be starting on Tuesday night. I'm going to be starting on Wednesday. I'm going to be starting on, today's Tuesday. Tomorrow we're going to have another live stream this week, probably on Thursday, with some guests. We're going to be talking about the summit. We're going to be going over some things. That's right now planned for Thursday. So I'll let everybody know. If you subscribe over there at Richard Taylor TV, youtube.com Richard Taylor TV, you'll be notified whenever we go live. That's where the most of the information is. Just keep that going for yourselves. Keep that right there so you can see it. And the other thing is, let me just check on something here. I'm going to show you something. Recordings, I don't think it's there. Is that where it is? I don't know where it is. Let me just check, see if I can find it real quick for you. So I'm going to be showing movies. Autumn 2020. All right, let's show you this movie real quick. I am going to show, this is my backyard. Leaves, leaves, and more leaves. going to be showing these videos starting on Sunday from past Final Cut Pro summits. That's hit 2 home runs.
What home runs do you think?
Last year,
Yeah?
10-3. This year, 10-4.
Well, that was an FMC. I think that was the Final Cut 10 team.
No, I mean FMC and Apple, this event.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
Yes, absolutely.
This event, 10-3 last year, now 10-4 this year.
I think it's been a great event so far. Last year was great. I'm excited to see how the rest of this weekend goes.
So next year when there's another event, another version of Final Cut? But,
I mean, they obviously did not launch a new version.
No, they did not.
Today. But, hey, at least we know what's coming.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think it's really exciting.
And they let us talk about it.
Right, that's unusual. It's highly unusual. They actually encouraged us to post to social media.
Absolutely, which is what we're doing now live on YouTube.
Yeah.
And Facebook. It's going to both.
I'm excited for everybody else to get to see what we've seen here tonight, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Patrick.
Well, absolutely, Richard.
I'll be stopping back again.
Yeah. See you here in a little bit.
We'll be going on for an hour or so.
Okay.
Unless the internet dies, then I have to reboot it. So that's a little preview. I have lots of clips. I have about 1 terabyte of behind-the-scenes footage from past summits and things. So that is what I'll be showing starting later this week. I might show you some on Thursday. But I'm going to start on Sunday, probably late afternoon, early evening. We'll be able to come back and talk about what's going on for the summit. And then Monday morning is when the summit starts. That'll be exciting. I'm interested in Apple Day. Some of my friends are presenting, of course, but I'm interested in Apple Day. Torgrim says, I'd definitely be on the summit. We'll get tickets soon. Really worth it. Dave Massa says, I would attend the summit, but Resolve is going to be my main tool now. They pushed the new external monitor with the small laptops. That monitor costs as much as the desktops by itself. Oh, that new XDR. That thing looks phenomenal. That is an incredible, incredible monitor. Big Sur release date was big too. Need it before the new Final Cut and Logic Pro, probably. Usually they go back, don't they go back one version? I think they do. I think they go back one version of the OS. Let's do another one.
I mean, half the time I don't know what I'm doing either, and because YouTube changes things and they don't ever tell you. So I think it's the best part about it is you can try things, and if it doesn't work, you can try something else. And I think we also mentioned this too, where I was talking before to people, they're like, well, how have you done this for so long? Or how are you so successful? I'm like, well, I haven't quit. And I think that is one of the biggest things, because I've had so many friends that have started YouTube channels. They've got a little bit of a following, and it wasn't doing that well, and then they're like, I'm done.
That's good advice. That's good advice. I've been podcasting for 15 years, and people say, what's your advice on podcasting? I say, let me tell you, it's easy to start a podcast. What's hard is to keep it going. Same with these live streams. This live stream I started at the summit in 2016. It's the first time I did any live streaming. That was with the iPhone and Facebook Live. Since then, I've done, this is probably close to 180. This one today, probably close to 180. So the thing is, it's easy to start something, but keeping it going year after year. Final Cut Pro Radio, I'm doing since start my 6th year in January. No breaks, no vacations, continuous for 5 years. During the summertime is the hardest time to keep those things going. So Big Sur is exciting too, but not finding Final Cut Pro announcement on Apple's site. There's a reason for that. I didn't say it was announced. I did not say it was announced. I said it's on Apple's site, but has not been announced as such, but it's mentioned, both of them are mentioned as pre-release. right here. Tested with pre-release Final Cut Pro 10.5. Tested with pre-release Logic Pro 10.6. That's where the information is. This is on the official Apple website. It's not released. Not released. If I wasn't going to go with Final Cut Pro, if I was going to leave Final Cut Pro, I would definitely use Resolve. I've been using Big Sur betas on my iMac and must say awesome. Cannot wait until Thursday. I have a couple of things that need to be updated before I go to Big Sur completely. I will erase my Big Sur beta partition and do the Big Sur public release when it comes out on Thursday, and we'll try it out. Prices of the new Macs are much lower than Intel, almost saving 100,000 euros. That's very interesting. So one of the other things is my iPhone 12 Pro Max is coming on Friday. This is the 11 Pro Max. I'm going to sell this. It has 11 months left on AppleCare. This is the top of the line 512 gigabyte 11 Pro Max. I'm going to be selling it and buying. I already bought the 12. I'm getting the 12. So some of my plugins for Final Cut received updates this week before Big Sur comes out. Now that I see Final Cut Pro 10.5, it might be more updates now. Absolutely. Are you excited about 10.5? I am. I mean, that's the Silicon Macs are exciting that they're doing something, but I'm not buying a Silicon Mac. I'm not buying the Mac Pro, whatever. I just got a message from my friend. Let me just do this real quick. Just sending a text to my friend, who's one of my friends, about Final Cut Pro 10.5 and Logic Pro 10.6. I'm still amazed. I mean, I'm very pleased 10.5 came out. So my 12 Pro Max will be here Friday. Absolutely, mine is coming on Friday too, if not before. My iPhone 12 Pro Max is on its way Friday. Spot Lewis says that's excellent, excellent, excellent. Everybody's buying one of those. I'll be trying out the 10-bit files on that and seeing it. I'll probably come on here just for a little bit on Friday and do like a live unboxing. Everybody does all their fancy produced unboxing. I'm going to do it live. I'll just do it right here. I'll do it right here. Cheers to the Final Cut Pro team. How everybody agree with that? Cheers to the Final Cut Pro team. They are phenomenal. All right, everyone, what do you think? What do you think? I think we've done enough for today. We got a lot of comments today, lots of comments, lots of activity. Final Cut Pro 10.5, Logic Pro 10.6 have been mentioned on the Final Cut Pro. on apple.com, sorry. So we have another one of these coming up on Thursday. I might stop in tomorrow for a while. I'll have to see. But Thursday, look for another one. If you subscribe over here at youtube.com, Richard Taylor TV, you'll be notified when we go live. That's the best place, I think. I'm also on Facebook, of course, but that's more friends, not so much business associates, personal friends. All right. Cheers to the Final Cut Pro team. A yes, absolutely. I think I'm going to head out of here, guys and gals. And I will talk to you later. Don't forget, subscribe over there at Richard Taylor TV on YouTube. Same on Twitter, Richard Taylor TV. Facebook, Richard Taylor TV. Periscope, Richard Taylor TV. Instagram, I'm never on Instagram, but it's the same. All my social media is the same. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Look, Logic Pro 10.5, Logic Pro 10.6, Final Cut Pro 10.5. Not released. The pre-release versions of both of those have been announced on the Apple website. I can't wait to see what will be in the new version. We're all excited. My guess is we're going to see it at the Global Summit next week. But it could be released Thursday with Big Sur. Could be released at any time between now and next week. If it's not out by next week, I'm sure we're going to see it next week. But I'm sure also that's what the Final Cut Pro team, Pro Apps team, the Pro Video team is going to show us next week at the Global Summit. Thanks, everyone. My name is Richard Taylor. And I will see you later this week. Right? Thursday, probably at 12 noon Eastern time, we're going to have a panel, a guest of people talking about this announcement about Final Cut Pro, Logic Pro, and mostly about the Global Summit. Thursday, 12 noon, come back over here to youtube.com, Richard Taylor TV. Thanks, everyone.